s'il vous plaît.
Each team has 20 minutes to present its case to the judges. I will show a board for the 10, 5, last 2 minutes, and last 30 seconds of the presentation. During the last 10 seconds of the speech, I will indicate by means of my 2 hands the number of remaining seconds. A team not having ended its presentation after 20 minutes will be stopped to move on to the period of question. A period of question of a maximum duration of 5 minutes is assigned to the jury at the end of the presentation. I will invite the judges to introduce themselves, and then the team can begin.
Maurice Guénard, Strategy Consultant à la Société d'assurance automobile.
Dan Chiu, gestionnaire de SAC.
Jacqueline Corbett, Professor of MIS at FSAT in Laval.
Linguisna, gestionnaire à la SAC.
Alain Arsenault, ERP leader here at the University of Laval.
Dans le monde de la sécurité, on entend souvent « vaut mieux prévenir que guérir ». Et c'est spécialement vrai pour la SAQ. La SAQ doit utiliser ces technologies de l'information pour sécuriser les routes pour les Québécois et les Québécoises. Hi, my name is Pierre-Olivier. Here are my colleagues Carly and David, and we are DS Consulting. We came here today because we have a great problem in front of you. You have a lot, you're implementing a new ERP, and you want in the future be more efficient. What to do with this ERP? How can I use it to leverage it to have better outcomes for the users? Right now, you're looking for many new ERP vendors, and we want to help you through with that also. But most importantly, where do you want to be later? You want to be a leader in the industry across North America in safety, and you want to achieve the 3.2 deaths per 100,000 inhabitants for security-wise. It's a great priority for SAQ since it wants to securize its users for safety. So given the mandate, how can SAQ reduce the number of accidents on the road by leveraging information technology? We came here with 4 considerations. First of all, accidents will plateau. Your mass campaigns have had a great effect on the population and on the usage of the car, but we're trying to see the limits of this, and how can we go to the next step? Second of all, business intelligence. How can we use the data, which is so precious, to make better decisions and to have better tools for managers? Stakeholder benefits. How can other stakeholders, such as the police, the firemen, the Ministère des Transports du Québec, can use our expertise to further put more security on our roads? And lastly, road user privacy. How can we ensure privacy of all our customers? How can we make sure that the customers trust the SAQ and the whole government side?
So the first key consideration we have here is how the accidents will plateau. So the basis here is that you have had a lot of decrease in terms of the accidents that have been happening. However, you can't rely on past success for future success. There's an eventual point where you're going to plateau if you continue doing what you're doing right now. So right now, the cell phone usage and impaired driving is one of the main concerns of, in terms of the accidents that are going to be happening and that have happened over the past. You've had very past preventative measures, such as marketing campaigns and just a basic cause and effect analyses to come up with these kind of marketing campaigns that were targeted towards specific genders, age groups, and locations. Now, so what SAQ needs to do is to stress the importance that they come up with a new method to promote road safety, considering we don't want this you guys do not want this to plateau. The next key consideration is business intelligence. Now, you came to us today with the opportunity of perhaps taking on a business intelligence approach. Now, you see, business intelligence is a thorough analysis, and that has a presentation of data that is very thorough, profound, and it's not just your basic cause and effect analysis. You can take a lot of different factors, integrate it into one, and come up with these trends that are something that could be very useful for the SAQ. Detailed reports are then generated for executives to make decisions in terms of future projects, future advertisements, future incentives for customers to have road safety. So essentially what business intelligence does is it deciphers in-depth efficiencies, trends, and relationship to have good reports for the executives to be able to use this for decision making. So SAQ must evaluate a business intelligence option in depth for their new technology structure. Going on to the next key consideration is stakeholder benefits. So you have this current house model, and where you're all towards one mission of reducing the risk of road safety on the roads of Quebec. Now, there's contributions of many stakeholders to help you achieve this vision, and we don't want to leave them hanging. We want to make sure they're included in whatever projects you do next, whether it's the public stakeholders or the private stakeholders. So their very necessary complementary expertise is what helps you, SAQ, and the effectiveness of road safety initiatives. So when coming up with your new information technology structure, you have to make sure that you think about the stakeholders as well and how their benefits will be involved. Our next key issue is road user privacy. Now, what we mean by road user privacy is that the public has some kind of perception of being monitored. They do not like being monitored. They don't like the fact that they're being watched all the time. And the way technology is evolving these days, there's apps, trackers, online pages, that you're always being monitored. And that brings some skepticism to the customers. So as SAQ, a government institution, there are many legal implications that are involved in this. And you really want to ensure that you have the trust of your customer to not feel like they're being watched 24/7. So with that being said, SAQ must consider the public's negative perception towards monitoring when implementing their new information technology. So we came up with 3 alternatives. The first alternative is to just focus on the ERP implementation. We understand there's many tedious tasks involved in implementing a full ERP, so we can consider this alternative to have a strong implementation and leave any new possibilities for something in long term. Our second alternative is a mobile application with tracker and the implementation of ERP. So this is having a mobile app to be able for the road users to be able to see where they're driving, what their brake percentage is, if they're braking too hard, things like that. And our last alternative is integrated ERP with a business intelligence solution. So let's go on to our decision criteria. Our first decision criteria is road user privacy. As mentioned in key consideration, this is crucial so that you have the trust of the customers and the road users. Secondly, stakeholder benefit. As mentioned, they are key to your contribution. They're a key contributor to your vision. So we have to make sure they're involved in this process as well. Cost. Evidently, cost is a big factor in terms of implementing new systems. And lastly, which is our deal breaker in terms of our decision criteria, is in line with the SAQ vision. This is to reduce risk off the road and to promote safety. So we evaluated the 3 alternatives based with our decision criteria. However, I want to put an emphasis on in line with vision. Now, considering it as our deal breaker. So in line with vision, the ERP focus, you're not going to be doing anything. It's just going to be internal processes. This is not really in line with vision because you're not reducing the risk off the road. You're continuing doing internal processes, but in a more sophisticated and efficient way. In terms of mobile app with tracker, in line with vision, now here's the thing. If you're having a mobile app while you're driving, that promotes cell phone usage while driving. So that is not in line with the vision because that increases the risk of accidents on the road because there'll be more influence to use their cell phone. And what we chose is an integrated ERP solution with business intelligence. And this is very important and one of the most profound solution to be able to meet the vision because you're going to be using the data extracted from this business intelligence solution to provide the road users with a more safer road environment. So our recommendation is to integrate an ERP and business intelligence solution. So in terms of our key considerations, how is this going to benefit? Well, they're going to have better knowledge to be able to prevent future accidents. Business intelligence is going to be implemented. Stakeholder benefits, you'll be able to provide more accurate data to your stakeholders. And road user privacy, we are not using any kind of monitoring service. So the SAQ will not be involved with monitoring, so they feel the trust, so they won't have to feel you're losing your trust. So I'm going to pass you on to David, who's going to go through the implementation.
Thank you, Carly. So now you talk to us about your mission, which is to save every single life on the road today. To achieve this, we looked at different options. Today, we're recommending to implement a strict basis, a strict structure to get the most out of your business intelligence and to create data that will be useful for you, your business partners, and in the future, we hope for the road users. So we're going to do that in 3 phases. So the first phase, the short term, this is where you're going to get the management buy-in. As you mentioned, there's going to be management involved, so we want to make sure that they understand what business intelligence is and how can that provide value to SAAQ. You're going to also select this ERP that you want to implement and work with the provider, the vendor, to make sure that it integrates with a business intelligence solution that will have databases and analytic tools. In the medium term, this is where you're going to integrate this solution. So you're going to implement it and rolling out through your company. You're going to make a few hires to ensure that this business intelligence solution is well monitored and well implemented. You're going to also start to gather some data from your customers, and you're going to have some change management policies put in place. In the long term, this is where you're going to have your training and information provided to all of your employees and business partners. You're going to also have a meeting with every stakeholders at a periodical time. I'm going to come back to this a little bit later. And you're going to have a reward program introduction to make sure that people really get the most out of what you can get from this business intelligence. So let's look at the short term. So first of all, you're going to have your training. So it's going to be very important to make sure that management is on board with your plan. They're going to do that by having a training of what business intelligence can bring. For example, this can be through marketing. Marketing could get information about the date, the age, the sex of a person who's most likely to drive having consumed alcohol. And this will provide information that will be super useful when you're going to do those social media campaigns or those advertising campaigns when you're going to target the real audience that you're trying to reach. So to make sure that this is trained and adopted to senior management, you're going to have to create a governance board. This board will include the project manager of this implementation and Mr. Malenfant, who has overseen the project so far. And you're going to choose your ERP in the first 3 months. You talked to us about the fact that you want to implement this ERP. You're going to have to make sure that this contract is closed as soon as possible with criteria that are put in place, such as the integration with the database or the reports, to make sure that you can simultaneously use both of the database to make sure that you get the most out of your data, as I mentioned earlier. So you're going to leverage costs. By having one solution from the same vendor, or having a solution with vendor that are compatible, this will leverage costs as you won't need to pay for 2 software. So you can get a discount, and as implementing together, we think that this could be included in the contract negotiation, providing an added benefit for the whole project. So solutions such as SAP or Oracle can be considered. We didn't have information provided as to what was considered at the moment, but we believe those could be a great fit for your size and locations. And you're going to also get approval from the governance board as soon as you have this software chosen and selected, and it's going to be reported to management. This will also minimize customization needed, as the 2 solutions will be thought of and planned together, so you will be able to integrate this in a more timely fashion. So let's look at the medium term. So now that you have chosen what solution you're going to implement, you're going to actually implement. So you're going to deploy it in phases, so you're going to your users are going to start using it in different phases. So you might want to start by upper management because they will be trained first. So they are going to be able to use it and they're going to be able to understand it. At first, we understand that your ERP will be integrated faster because you don't have what is needed at the moment to get the most out of your business intelligence solution. So this is why you're implementing them together to add and construct it as you go, making sure that everyone is on board. So you're going to focus on the training of the ERP, and the change management will be done to accept the change. You have over 5,000 employees, if I'm not mistaken. Those employees will have to be trained, and they will have to understand why you're changing their processes in order to make sure they use it and they are still happy working for SAQ. So also in the medium term, this is where you're going to hire and create some partnerships. So you're going to have your change management expert to create training manuals, and you're also integrate the change inside your corporate audit office. You're going to have data scientists, because as you get more data, it's going to be important to have people to look at the data. If you have that sitting in a database, it's not going to be useful. So you really want to get the most out of what you have. And you're going to outsource your storage, such as with cloud servers such as Amazon Web Services or CGI that offer compatible services. And your data. So you're going to integrate your data collection. How are you going to do that? So we want two parts of your data collection by purchasing data from insurance companies or getting data from for example, police reports that might be at the Ministère des Transports du Québec. And you also want to have surveys done through your users that are going to renew for example, their license. So they're going to go into your offices, or they're going to go on the website. So it's a perfect time for you to ask them what they think and how could you improve and what are their driving habits. This could be such as how do you feel about driving with the consumption of alcohol, and you're going to be able to create powerful tools to implement new strategies and stuff and plans for the future. So in the long term, you're going to have your training and information provided. So you're going to have to talk about those report capabilities. As I mentioned before, having that much information is amazing for every department. So to relate to my article, my example of marketing, they're going to be able to track how many people exactly reported to have ever drove under the influence. So this is, and they might have a specific car model. So if they go on social media and have like this and this page on Facebook, for example, you're going to be able to target them and reach them directly. This will be used internally and externally. As you mentioned, that you want to make your data available, such as from your website. I'm going to talk a little bit about the last years in the long term. And you want to have also your business partner use it. So this will be a training that, depending on who is receiving the training. So for example, your frontline employees might not receive, might want to receive a 20-30 minute on why would they ask a customer to take a survey, for example. But your marketing director might receive an extensive training to know how we can take this information. And to adaptation to stakeholders, so we want to make sure that everyone is adapted and all your business partners are able to get what they want from what you have. So it's going to be important to meet with all your business partners at least once a year, just to make sure that what you give them is what they're looking for. So therefore, you're going to work in synergy moving forward. And then again, in the long term, you're going to have your distribution information. So as a last part of your Public Administration Act, you mentioned that you want to have this data online. How to do that will not be able to do it in the short term, but after about a year of gathering data, you're going to be able to create information and statistics that you're going to be able to publish. And you're going to have a rework program. So this is something that we thought would be a very important thing for your 16 to 24 years old, who are still a major problem in driving with different problems. So up to 30 years old, they're going to be, we recommend having a 50% discount on their renewal of driving license if they kept a clean record for 5 years. This will allow you to reduce your payout of emissions when there's an accident, for example, and you're going to value that in the long term. So I'm going to pass it on to Kelly, who's going to go over our financials.
Thank you, David. So I have four key financial measures. First of all, is the cashback period. As any institution, you want to have a quick cashback under 18 months. With our business intelligence, we have gain efficiencies that we can show you in the appendix for a 13 months cashback period. Second of all, the one I want to talk about is a $12 average return per dollar invested. So within the 5-year period, which is usually IT project structure, you're going to have $12 for every dollar you invest. Why is that? Because you will have efficiency gain for the administrative costs, and also you're going to reduce your payouts to the claims by being more secure, by ensuring that roads are more secure. You'll be able to pay to reduce the cost, and therefore have a better project financially. We come up with three key performance indicators. First of all, we want to reach that OECD level. I think it's important for us, for a modern society, to reach that level and to have secure roads. So we're going to have 3.2 deaths per 100,000, and that will be measured by analyzing the BI data. Second of all, we want cost reduction, which is important because cost reduction will ensure also go to the users. Reduction of remittance payout by 5% within 5 years, and also reduce the administrative cost by 7% within 5 years. The business intelligence will allow our managers to make better decisions and be more efficient in the long term. And lastly, we want to reduce the accident for our young drivers. They're the new people in the world. We need to make sure that they're secure and that we're well informed. By having the incentive that David talked about, we'll be able to do that. Just in that, there's a risk mitigation. We'll be able to talk to you for this in the Q&A. Just imagine a road when the ministère des Transports sees the tendencies on what's going on. And then with the SAEQ, they can put measures in place to secure that road. Because we know with data and analytics that this road is less secure than others. That's one of the many possibilities that's ahead for SAEQ. So thank you, and we'll be open for questions.
I know you've discarded the mobility for the reason you gave. However, mobility gives you contextual information. How will you offset this lack of information?
Well, we think it's an important source of information. We need the benefits of having such accurate information about every user. It's not worth the risk of putting SAEQ repetition on the line. Every public institution is within the public eyes, and we want to make sure that you're secure and that we can find a lot of different external sources that will give us similar or more accurate data than the actual users.
I want to stay on the same subject there. In the case that we're talking about Adjustum, which is a proven model that's being used with incentives to adhere to it.
Yeah.
How do you? Right now, you're focusing on prevention, but not real-time influence on the conduct or on the driving. Why did you discard really without?
First of all, Adjusto is on a voluntary basis.
Yeah.
So we do the same thing for SAEQ. And we don't believe, first of all, that our target market would be so inclined to using such a technology. And the adoption rate is a big issue. Even though we have an incentive, many 18 to 24-year-old might not want the government to look into how they drive. And that's a big incentive. The public versus private company is a big change in this type of models.
You've talked about having data storage outside public sector. Where should we go? Not allowed to go in the States. So cloud, they're all over.
We gave the ideas as Amazon, IBM, CGI, we have data storage of those kind of companies to be able to, because they're very high reputed companies and we have trust in storing our data with them. We believe that they have the best opportunity for you guys to be able to store your data that we're going to be achieving through the business intelligence.
You've talked about this integrated BI environment. Could you be more precise in terms of what type of applications or features or software or what would that be? Can you give any more precisions on that?
Sure. Taking the example, the financial. SAEQ has a finance division, I'm sure. They can have better forecasts. And with a BI, they can see the actual price of they're paying for any projects. Let's say you have a new project of implementing a new campaign for marketing. You have the forecast costs, but with BI, you can take all the hours from different departments and create an actual forecast. So you can compare the actual project state, which is versus the forecast. So if you went over budget, maybe it's time to have a meeting with the project manager and to see why his cost is going over. That's one of the examples we can have.
Another comment that you made, which I thought was an interesting point, is this idea about necessary complementary expertise. So I'm just wondering, you can go ahead and, my answer is, what do you mean, you know, can you give some examples of what that would entail?
This is in terms of our business partners. So like we had mentioned, they're big contributors. And the reason why they're big contributors is because they complement SAQ in terms of the public and private service areas. They, for example, the rehabilitation centers. So if there is an accident, SAQ covers and it provides it with the rehabilitation, mentally, physically, things like that. So that's very complementary to what SAQ provides to their road users.
Would our BI system be getting information from those?
Yeah, and also giving information for them. So that's why we really want to benefit the stakeholders by having them have access to some of our information, giving them reports, showing them how they're beneficial to us as well, and just maintaining that relationship.